You're tuned to Tomorrow Today. Here's what's coming up. Superintelligence, the age of smart machines. Healing sport, exercise and cancer therapy. And social animals, mutual aid among rats. They were once called mechanical brains. Later, electronic brains. Even the earliest computers were built to somehow imitate human thought processes. Today's computers are close to that goal, thanks to artificial intelligence, or AI. There are already numerous applications. We take a critical look at one algorithm that is supposed to analyze our personality.
Speak to us and we'll tell you who you are. Software company Precire Technologies, formerly called Cyware, says it has a program that can create personality profiles based on just a 15-minute voice recording. Speech analysis tools that can identify a suitable applicant, a dream if you're hiring. Psychologist and CEO Christian Greb worked on the algorithm.
In speech, there are two relevant channels. First, there's your voice. How loud or how high are you speaking? Then there's what you say, the words you use. Not really the concepts they convey, but whether you use emotional words or certain elements. Our technology is based on this combination of voice and speech.
Could you really break down my personality on the phone? I decide to take the test. A recorded voice poses questions. When I've run out of things to say, I press a button and it asks the next one.
Please describe your typical Sunday.
When I get up on Sunday mornings nowadays, it's usually a little earlier than I'd like, because I've got a little daughter. Does rattling on about my Sunday really reveal things about my personality? Whether I'm a team player or even a possible leader? Surely speech is always different, depending on who you're talking to, how you feel, and what you're discussing.
We discovered that after around 7 to 9 minutes, a voice print or profile crystallized that was very individual. It's a little like a fingerprint. You can't get rid of it. It's something characteristic.
Recruiters, consulting agencies, and health insurers are already using the software to screen employees. Precire says this kind of analysis can improve communication among staff, recognize burnout and depression at an earlier stage, and pinpoint people with potential.
The advantages of the software are that it's very objective and can return results quickly. When creating a personality profile, it achieves stable results from less than 15 minutes of speech.
Its makers claim the algorithm analyzes over 500,000 speech characteristics. But exactly which ones and how they weight them is a trade secret.
We focused very strongly on the scientific parameters. The algorithm is based on science. That's what we focused on.
For decades, Professor Walter Sendelmeier has been investigating speech and its effects. He's skeptical that current software could make a reliable analysis.
The human ear is still the best acoustic analyzer if what you want to do is recognize and process human speech. Still, just because we human beings are able to do it well doesn't mean that machines couldn't do it just as well, or just as quickly, or just as reliably.
He doubts Precire's software could really create a profile from a phone interview.
These things are highly dependent on what you're talking about, who you're talking to, and the context. For example, you'd speak to a child differently than to an adult. You'd talk to your best friend differently than you would to a policeman, and so on.
My personal profile is ready in 48 hours. First, Christian Greb tells me how I speak and how my speech affects others. Overall, I speak clearly, but my sentences are longer than average. I talk very quickly and don't pause much.
Speaking fast is generally positive, dynamic, but it can also cause you to leave a topic in the dust, especially when your sentences are long.
We never judge based on the speed of speech alone. If someone speaks quickly but articulates well with proper intonation and pauses, then as a listener you don't feel he's speaking too fast.
Der Mensch spricht nicht zu schnell.
It isn't clear from the test results exactly which parameters have been evaluated. Out of the supposed 500,000 of them, only a few make an appearance. One of them is volume. I'm surprised to hear I'm louder than average.
The recordings are made via a phone connection, so the caller could be dialing in from a smartphone or a landline, and everybody holds the phone a little differently. So it makes no sense to compare the volumes of different people.
Then things get more personal. Greb explains how the Precire profile says I tick, and what the results of the test could actually mean.
Dominance is generally about power and is often desirable in leader figures. You're average in this trait, so you could take on responsibilities, but aren't driven to it.
Some parts of the analysis seem accurate, others feel way off the mark. So does the software work? Or is it just a gag being sold as the real thing?
Quote, "You're happy to take responsibility and make decisions, but are less interested in having power over or controlling others. Depending on the situation, you prefer guidance. In other words, anything is possible." This pattern is the same one you'll find in horoscopes. There's something for everyone. Everyone picks out an aspect that sort of fits and thinks, how do they know that?
In the end, I can't really judge how well the program has fulfilled its developers' promise. The software itself remains pretty mysterious. When it comes to the science, there are a lot of open questions. But Precire is already on the market. And a major consulting firm predicts that within 10 years, programs like it will be having a huge effect on the economy. A fascinating thought, and a pretty frightening one as well.
In research on artificial intelligence, the architecture of the human brain is playing an ever greater role. At some point, a computer based on neural networks might be truly intelligent, more intelligent than the smartest human. Superintelligent.
Is superintelligence destined to be our friend or foe? One thing seems certain. The first computer that can really outsmart us will have a transformative effect on humankind.
The development of full artificial intelligence and then superintelligence will be one of the most important things that has ever happened in human history. I mean, arguably more important than anything in human history, and perhaps comparable to the rise of Homo sapiens in the first place.
Nick Bostrom is a researcher at the University of Oxford. He's exploring the impact a superintelligent machine could have on life as we know it. From an evolutionary perspective, intelligence is key. It helped humans to the top of the food chain, enabling them to build up powerful civilizations. What capabilities would a superintelligent computer have? After all, the edge humans had over other species has enabled us to rule the world.
Now, the fate of the gorillas depends a lot more on what we humans do than on what the gorillas do themselves. So the thought is that for basically the same reasons, if we one day create machines that surpass human intelligence, then they might be in a very powerful position to shape the future according to their preferences. And if that were to pass, it would then be of paramount importance that the goals of these superintelligences would be aligned with human goals, that they would be an extension of the human will, that they would be fundamentally on our side.
A superintelligent computer would be able to expand its own intelligence, enhancing its ability to analyze, reason, develop, and plan. It could even outdo us in terms of creativity.
Because if you think about it, once you have machines that can do everything that we can do and can do it better and faster, that's really the last invention humans will ever need to make. Because inventing is itself one of these activities that then will be done better by AI.
But a superintelligence could develop and pursue its own selfish goals. That could lead to a human-style superiority complex. Machines could treat us with the same disregard we humans show a colony of ants when we're, say, paving over a parking lot.
Similarly, if you have a superintelligent optimization process that is trying to optimize the world for some objective that doesn't include human values and the things we care about, then we might kind of be analogously paved over or just destroyed as a side effect and for instrumental reasons, rather than because of any animosity.
So what can we do? Impose rules on the machine, such as do not harm any human being? It could easily see through that. What about disabling it with a virus? Chances are we wouldn't be smart enough. And pulling the plug doesn't seem to be much of an option either.
So you have a system that can learn, a system that is capable of strategic thinking and planning, that is maybe able to anticipate your reactions. A system which, for example, if it thought its goals would be better served by it not being switched off, could plan ahead and figure out a set of behavioral outputs that would reduce the risk that humans would choose to reach for the off switch. You have a system that potentially is capable of deception, like humans even are, and if you have a super intelligent deceiver, that presumably could go much further.
How could we stop a super intelligent computer from attacking the internet, financial institutions, the military, industry, enslaving humankind, and generally wreaking havoc? It seems that the machine itself would have to come up with the idea of goodwill towards humans.
It looks like the most promising paths involve leveraging the AI's own intelligence, its learning ability, to do some of this cognitive work for us. Maybe you could have an AI that learns what it is that human values, that looks at human behavior, maybe asks us questions, and then can infer what our preferences are from that.
Programming a super-intelligent computer to live by basic human values sounds pretty risky. For Nick Bostrom, though, it's a risk worth taking.
We asked our Facebook fans what they think. Will machines take over the world someday? Kalyan Saha dismissed that idea, saying machines would never match humans in terms of smarts. Osei Shadrach takes a different view. For him, machines are actually poised to take over the world, and he cites Industry 4.0 as an example of that. Jehoshaphat Tatilio is more optimistic. He believes the people who make the machines will always retain control. And that's Fred Griswold's point. He says machines can only take over if someone programs them that way. So the programmer will be taking over the world, not the machine. Now we go to our viewer's question. This time it's about a place where most of us would like to spend some time, the beach. This science query comes from Morocco.
Ben Omar from Oujda wants to know, where does the sand on the beach come from? Beaches can be crowded or empty and remote. And the sand is great for building castles and sculptures. You can also build islands with sand, like this one in Dubai. Most of it actually originates in mountains. Humans have to work very hard to break up pieces of stone, while nature does it more elegantly, if more slowly. When water enters gaps in stone and freezes, it eventually splits the rock. The pieces that fall off are carried away by streams and rivers to the sea. The process of erosion continues as the stones rub against each other along the way. In the tropics, parrotfish also play a major role in the formation of sandy beaches. They chew on coral and then poop the gritty bits out again. Ocean currents transport the fragments of coral to the shore. Waves dump them on the beach, along with large quantities of sand from the sea bed.
If you have a science question, then go to our website and send it in. If we answer it on the show, you'll get a copy of our DVD with Albert Einstein's greatest theories, explained with a smile.
The most important thing is to never stop asking questions.
Doing sport is good for you. It hones your body and improves your mood. Millions of fitness fans around the world agree. But sport is not just something for healthy people in search of records and medals. It turns out that exercise is record-breaking in fighting disease.
She feels most free out on the water. Renate Mücke is a former German champion in women's 4. She'd always loved sports. Then came the diagnosis. She had cancer. It was a huge shock for the former top athlete. Chemotherapy robbed her of her strength. But despite all the physical stress, Renate took to the water again. Rowing helped relieve the nausea and fatigue and gave her new hope.
It was always wonderful to be able to escape my illness through rowing. As soon as I saw the river, I wanted the physical exercise and immediately felt energy flowing through me. And at moments like that, I completely forgot I was ill.
Renate survived her illness. Now she wants to show others how sport gave her fresh strength during and after the therapy. She trains with a group of rowers once a week.
We have to think about who gets into which boat.
The special thing about the group is that everyone in it is a cancer survivor. During treatment, each of them discovered rowing and has stuck with the sport ever since. Rowing has been a means of getting back into everyday life and improving health at the same time. How sport can have a positive effect on cancer patients. That's the focus of investigations carried out by sports doctors at the University Clinic in Ulm. This is where Renate Mücke was treated. Patients here come directly from the clinic to work out, even during their chemotherapy regimes, a time when many feel hopeless and at the mercy of circumstances. The sports scientists tailor training programs for every patient.
Besonders in der Chemotherapiephase ist es ganz wichtig, Sport zu treiben.
It's very important to pursue sports in order to reduce side effects, especially during chemotherapy. Usually our patients are able to retain fitness levels and sometimes even improve them a little. The most important thing is for our patients to remain fit in order to keep up their quality of life and be able to deal with everyday life more effectively.
Einfach auch ihren Alltag besser bewältigen zu können.
In the past, cancer patients were generally prescribed bed rest. But today, the aim is to keep them as active as possible. Exercise lowers levels of stress hormones, and that helps patients perform better and feel better. It stimulates the immune system and also has an impact on metabolism and the levels of certain growth factors and hormones. It's especially important to build up muscle mass and strength reserves to prevent the chemotherapy from weakening the body too severely. To check the training effect, the sports physicians take tissue samples from a patient's muscle at the beginning and at the end of sessions. In the lab, the cells are analyzed to find out which kinds of exercise most increase metabolic activity and muscle mass, and exactly which mechanisms are responsible for the changes.
Studies indicate that sports therapy can reduce the chances of a tumor recurring in breast, bowel and prostate cancer by about 50%. No one is suggesting doing without chemotherapy, of course. But put the two treatments together and you have a considerable reduction in the probability of a tumor recurring.
With the Rowing Against Cancer project, the sports doctors have managed to keep their patients active even after therapy. Everyone hopes the exercise will help keep the cancer at bay. And, alongside the physical effects, the group activity also provides psychological support.
These rodents flourish where people leave their waste, especially in cities. Rats can carry disease, and many people find them repulsive, even frightening. But that bad image needs revision. Rats are intelligent, fast learners, and sociable animals. And under certain conditions, they'll help each other. A rich field for behavioral scientists.
Here at the Institute of Ecology and Evolution at the University of Bern, Manon Schweinfurt researches the social life of rats. More specifically, the mechanisms underlying their cooperative behavior. Rats are active when it's dark. That makes it hard to see what they're up to. There is, however, a trick. The rats' quarters are illuminated with red light, which they can't see. For them, it's dark here.
These are common brown rats, like the ones you'd find in a sewer. We get them as soon as they can be separated from their mothers, at about 4 weeks of age, when they're still small. They gradually get used to humans, which is why they're so nice to us and enjoy it when we work with them.
In this experiment, 2 rats are placed in separate chambers of a cage. There's a movable tray in front of them. On the right, there's a tasty oat. On the left, a handle. If the rat on the left pulls the handle, the other rat can reach the oat.
You can see it wants the food. It's reaching out for it.
But it's too far away.
It can smell it. It knows the oat it wants is right there in front of it.
The rat on the left has to help the one on the right to get the oat. And it does so. This is cooperative behavior. In the next stage, the handle is on the right and the oat on the left.
Now we've reversed the roles. The rat that got the oat returns the favor. We can see that they understand that the oat is now on the other side. And here's another one.
The cooperation follows the principle, if you help me, I'll help you. The one rat helps the other, even though pulling the handle involves considerable exertion.
A key aspect of our experiments is that the one rat derives no immediate benefit from its behavior. In humans, you might call that altruistic behavior, giving somebody something without any benefit for oneself.
But later...
Yes, when the other rat returns the favor.
But what if a rat won't cooperate? Schweinfurt has trained the rat on the left not to help.
It doesn't pull the handle to move the plate with the oat, and the other one sees that it's not being helpful.
What happens now when the oat is on the other side?
Now we've swapped the roles again, and the rat on the right can think about whether or not to make the food available to the rat that didn't give it anything.
The rat on the right chooses not to pull the lever to give the other one the oat.
Here it was about, if you don't give me anything, I won't give you anything. Rats' social behavior is what's made them so successful. They learn from each other really fast, for instance, what food is poisonous, or if one rat doesn't find anything to eat one day, the others might give it some food, so it doesn't have to go hungry that day. And it survives, and perhaps the following day it will find a morsel or two and then return the favor to the others. This whole complex, their social life, is probably what makes rats so amazingly adaptable and successful.
For more from the world of science and technology, go to our website. And do get in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook. We love hearing from you. That's it for today. Next time, Lionel shows us his new high-tech prosthetic arm. It will grow along with him. Developed in a virtual lab, it was produced using a 3D printer. Join us for that next time. See you soon.